Hi guys, good morning and welcome to my podcast. My name is Mandy and this is a knitting and crochet podcast. So I have been knitting and crocheting for pretty much a decade, more for crochet, less for knitting, but we'll just go with a decade. And I love to make garments and I love to take garment patterns and kind of change them around a little bit, make them fit better, just make them custom to what I need. And if that sounds like something that's interesting to you, please stick around. I would love to have you. We are in southeastern Michigan here and it's freezing. We went from almost a really late summer to like all of a sudden, hi, fall is here, it's almost winter. We haven't gotten snow yet, so I guess I can't complain too much. If you're new here, I am in a wheelchair, so snow is kind of not very friendly with mobility issues. My wheelchair doesn't have four-wheel drive, so it is what it is. Maybe one day. I am grateful that it hasn't snowed, but it's going to be very soon, so. With all of that said, let's move into admin because you guys aren't here to talk about my weather with me. Okay, so the first admin piece of business that I have to talk about is the pattern giveaway, last week's pattern giveaway. So, I give away a pattern prize every week on the podcast. And the way that you enter is you just leave a comment down below and then come back next week and I draw a winner. And if I drew your name, then just reach out to me on either Instagram or Ravelry as Mandy Von Knits. Let me know what pattern that you want and I will gift it to you on Ravelry. If you don't use Ravelry, let me know that too and we will find another way to gift it to you. So far it hasn't come up yet, but I'm just laying that out there in case any Ravelry isn't accessible to anyone that watches. Okay, for the rules, you can only win once a month. I want to make it fair for everybody. And the pattern price has to be under $15. So with all of that said, I am going to leave a blank spot right here. And that should be the winner of last week's pattern prize. So if that was you, like I said, reach out to me on either Instagram or Ravelry and let me know what pattern you want. Okay, with all of the admin out of the way, let's talk about what I'm wearing. So I wore this on purpose. This is Always There by Locatelli, and this has to be my single most worn knit that I've ever made. I love this. This is knit from Barocco Vintage DK. And everything about this cardigan is so comfy and so cozy. But there was another reason that I picked it. So I have been showing pattern prize winners pattern picks. And this was actually a pick from a previous winner. So they asked for the Always There cardigan and I sent it to them. So I wanted to wear it because I actually had it. And next week I will wear another one because I have that one too. So like I said, this is from Locatelli. It is knit in DK weight yarn. And I think I did this during Locatelli Make Along. She has a yearly one that starts from September to November, and I must have knit it then, and I really enjoyed the process. Like I said, this is a very wearable piece, and it's boxy throughout the body, and the sleeves are more fitted for this pattern, and I remember this. So, because this is a part of the pattern that actually gave me pause. So this pattern has kind of the typical work through process. I'm not sure what I'm saying here, but you work through this cardigan the way that you typically work through many of Hohi's patterns that I've tried. So you start from the shoulders and then you work the back and then you work the front and you connect under the arm. So when you connect under the arm, you do not add any stitches underneath them. Now, I added stitches. I believe I added 10 stitches underneath each arm on both sides. And I did that because I have noticed this, and I've also heard this before, that some of Joji's patterns, the armholes are a little snug. And I definitely didn't want to have that issue with this, so I just added a couple of extra stitches. Now, if you take a look, this ribbed pattern, it's just twisted rib. It's not going to hurt anything if you're adding an even amount of stitches, especially since, you know, once you join under the arm, you're just basically knitting down. So it didn't hurt anything. I really like the way that it fit, and I was very happy that I ended up doing that. Like I said, I've never made one without doing it, but it just seemed to me like when I'm joining under the underarms, I definitely want some wiggle room, right? I hope you guys know what I mean, but I definitely don't regret it. Like I said, this is my most worn knit. If I am going like to the doctors, to the store, running anywhere, I'm always grabbing this. Now, the Vintage DK is, I believe, wool and acrylic, but I'm going to put it down below because I can't remember for certain, but I'm almost positive that's exactly what it is. Definitely would use this yarn again. I feel like it's the perfect weight for, okay, let me quantify this. I feel like it's the perfect weight for me for all year. Now, if you get really warm a lot, you might not like the DK weight when it gets warmer. But for me, I go like last year. Yeah, in 2023, I was burning up all the time, and now I'm freezing all the time. So this is perfect. Okay, so that takes care of what I'm wearing. Now, I have been trying so hard to finish my son's Christmas sweater. Now, I'm going to talk about that after I mention my crochet object that I'm working on. Let me see if I have a picture, and I do. So, if you guys saw last week, I was working on Christmas cat gnomes, and I made one, and my daughter promptly claimed it. It's in her room. I haven't seen it since. She's been playing with gnomes, so whatever makes her happy. These are the Christmas cat gnomes. So this pattern is by Olga Vasileva, and I'm going to put all of the information for the designer on the screen so that you can see, as well as some pictures. So this pattern comes with two different options for making crochet cat gnomes. I have it in my head that I have a family that are cat lovers, just like me, right? And I feel like I want to make them one of each and have my kids give them to them. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, I have started basically making my assembly line kind of crocheting here because, first of all, if you haven't noticed, this body, it's done in black yarn, and the needle, the crochet hook that they want you to use is 1.75 millimeter. Now, I couldn't use that, so I stuck with a 2, which is still really, really small. But I've got it in my head that if I take each part of these cats and kind of double them, so 2 bodies and then 4 ears, I can kind of assembly line it and then at the end kind of put them all together. So that's what I'm working on. And luckily this week I ended up with these. And these are the bodies. Now, one looks a little bit bigger than the other, and that's because I haven't closed this one yet. But that's it. That's all the crocheting I've gotten done this week. And I don't know. Like I said, I've been trying to get my son's sweater worked. So those are going to be a very slow process, as the black yarn is kind of hard to deal with. A lot of commenters had some great suggestions. Someone suggested working the cat body in different colors, and I think that's good, but the only problem with that is that I went out and I bought this particular yarn in those particular colors, and I know that if I don't use those colors for this project, I mean, I'm not going to use them for anything else. So I really want to stick with the colors that I have, and I know that if I tough it out, it should be good. Someone else mentioned to like take a white cloth and put it under your crochet so that you can see the black stitches, and I think that that was a brilliant idea. So I'm definitely going to be kind of taking advantage of that. Plus I've got lights and lamps and everything. Okay, this is what I've been spending most of my time on. This is the Flax from Tin Can Knits. And boy, oh boy, if you guys aren't sick of hearing me talk about this sweater, you will be by the time Christmas is done, because I have one to make my daughter, and I'm gonna try to make myself one. Try. Keyword being try there, because I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to. But this is what I have for my son so far. And I believe I finished the body last week. And I love the way that that gradient looks. Like, it's so pretty. This is dyed from Mandy from Mouse Witch Yarns, and it is a gradient mini skein set. And let me kind of untangle this here. It's a gradient mini skein set, and I have one for my daughter that goes through all sorts of really pretty colors as well. Come on. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I had to unpin. I have my, so I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before, but one of my friends, my knitting friends, gave me a really good idea. So whenever, this is in lieu of, I guess, of using like needle stoppers. So you have the interchangeable needles, and you have these little holes, just sticking a light bulb stitch marker in there so that nothing can slide off. That's generally what I do, because even if I use like the needle stoppers, they pop off anyways. But with all of that said, I have been working on both sleeves kind of at the same time. So I've got this one right here and this one over here, and well, I can't say I'm almost there, because where is it? I know I marked it. Right here. So do you see that red stitch marker? At this red stitch marker, he tried it on, and these sleeves at that stitch marker still have 6.5 inches to go and then ribbing. So he has long arms. But he tried it, when he tried it on last night, it fit him so well. And he was like, the sleeves were down to his elbow, and he's like, I kind of like it like this. And I'm like, no, you have to take it off. I need to finish that. Because I know that if I don't finish the sleeves, he won't have as much use to wear out of it than if I had made the full sleeves. So I have this, and maybe about 3 more of these balls in this, like this size. I have pulled out some black sock yarn, and I am going to be adding it at the ends of the sleeves. So where is it? Right as I get to this color down here, which is pretty much black anyways, I'm going to be kind of fading it into completely black sock yarn. And I think that that should blend and kind of match really well. I'm so excited for this sweater. I'm so excited for this sweater, but I mean, I've been concentrating on it, but at the same token, I've been kind of like over it. I don't know what's been going on with me this this last week. I haven't felt much like knitting. So I have been instead looking at like all of the patterns everywhere and falling in love with them, and instead of actually knitting things, I've been daydreaming about stuff I could be doing that I don't have patterns for. So have you guys done that? Like just it gets to the point where I'm like holding my knitting in my hand. I'm working on these sleeves, so it's kind of awkward, I guess you could say, to knit the sleeves because you have to keep turning the sweater round and round. So that's awkward, and the movement's not very fluid. So instead of actually knitting it, I'm sitting there looking at my laptop or Instagram, and I'm like, oh, look at that pattern, or oh, look at that. I actually said, does anybody weave who watches this channel? If you do, leave comments down below. I know that my friend Stephanie has a weaving loom. I have been looking at weaving looms, and the reason I have been is because I'm kind of interested in getting one for Christmas. I would really like a rigid heddle loom, but the thing is, I want one with a stand because I don't feel like it would be very accessible to me unless it had a stand, but I'm not sure what width would be the best width to go with. Did you follow that? But I've been looking at like 20 inches or 25 inches maybe, and I don't know. I've kind of been falling down that rabbit hole, so more on that to come. But first, I am going to talk to you about some patterns that I found and some patterns that previous winners have picked. So I found this one last night, and the reason that I found it is because the designer who wrote this pattern is all of their patterns right now, and some of their ebooks are on sale for 99 cents each. So I will put up a link to their Ravelry store so that you guys can check that out if you're interested. Now, I found this one, and it's called Vintersolverv, I think. And it is by Donna Druchunas. And I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. But this was a knitting pattern. And this was actually a knitty. This was a knitty in 2013. So this was well before, yeah, this would be well before I knit. I would have just been crocheting right now at this time. But this is a very pretty colorwork sweater, and it is knit in DK weight yarn, and it's in Knitty. So if you go to the Knitty website, and I'll put up a link because that's where the pattern link that I'm putting up will take you to the Knitty site, the pattern will be free. Now, it says that the sizes available are between extra small and 3X, and I don't see centimeters or inches. So you might have to actually click on the pattern to see what that correlates to. But something I thought that was interesting about this is that the sleeve holes are steeked. It says the earliest sweaters were knitted in the round on multiple double-pointed needles, producing seamless garments that were custom made to fit the wearer. Sweaters were made with multiple colors, such as Norwegian pullovers, were usually knit as plain tubes and cut open to create the neck and armhole openings, while others made with single-color texture patterns, such as British fisherman ganzis, were shaped as they were knitted. I think that these colors in this sweater are so pretty. And when I looked at this pattern, I think it has 13 projects. And I was just like, that's crazy. This is a beautiful sweater. And I really like how the sleeves are the sleeves are actually like this. They're drop shoulder. So I just wanted to bring it to your attention. And this is not something I would have ever ran across unless I was looking around in this designer's pattern. So it says it's knit in DK weight yarn, and the gauge is 26 stitches and 34 rows equal 4 inches. Now your yardage is between 2,500 and 38,000 yards. So that is a lot of yarn, but I wonder, no, it says Rowan Pure Wool DK. So I think it's just because it's more of an oversized sweater. So even the extra small is all of them are going to have a lot of positive ease for it, which is what's accounting for the higher yardage there. It says it's got corrugated ribbing, which is actually something that I've never done, but I've always wanted to do. I think that it adds a really nice touch, and I've seen certain hats use it that I've really liked. And it's written pattern, top down, and steeks. So I think that those are the most important attributes. And like I said, it's free on Knitty, or if you go to the designer's Ravelry shop, you can actually buy the pattern for 99 cents. So that would be nice to support her as well. I actually got lost in her Ravelry shop, and I thought about showing you guys these patterns, but I'm like, okay, that's too much. I don't want to show you all of them. But she has a kitty, like a cat ebook, a knitting for cats ebook. And it's not just knitting for cats. There is some toys, some felted beds and things in the ebook, but there's also patterns of garments that have cats on it. And one of the patterns that I really liked was this all over colorwork cat sweater that had little cat faces on it. And I'm like, okay, this is all over colorwork and it has cats. I am definitely getting that one. So I did. We'll see if I end up knitting it sometime soon, but I really thought it was cute. I know that if I work on it, my daughter, the first thing she's going to do is she's going to say, "Where's mine?" So I'll have to figure out if I want to make it for me and then modify it for her, or just see what happens. I did think that as I was looking at that all over with the colorwork cat chart, I was thinking I could also take this chart and put it on a hat pretty easy. So, okay. Now, I'm pretty sure that you guys have heard of this. I've heard several people mention it throughout last week. So this sweater came out. This is called Barndance by Caitlin Hunter. And this is a brand new release. And at least 3 people have mentioned it to me. So I know that people are talking about it. It is DK weight yarn. Now, one thing that I did want to mention is that Caitlin Hunter's gauge is a curiosity to me. So it's DK weight yarn, but the gauge is 20 stitches and 28 rows, is 4 inches in color work, which seems more to me like a worsted. So that's just something to, you know, take into consideration if you decide to do this. But I thought that the pattern was pretty. And if you take a look at the color photos that I'm going to put on the screen, the colors that she picked are definitely screaming fall to me. Now, it says that if you go to her pattern page, there's an introductory code there that you guys can take a look at. That's 20% off, valid through November 19th. So it says that the sizes available are between 36 and 72 inches, which is a really wide range of sizes. Okay, so Barndance is knit from top down and features all over color work. The body and sleeve lengths are easily adjustable. The back neck features short rows for an improved fit. This pattern is size inclusive for chest measuring between 29 and 70 inches. I used my new favorite Spin Cycle Dream State color for my color work. Wild Horses is just the perfect fall color in my opinion. And the main color is Green Mountain Spinnery I don't know. I'm putting it down below. I think it's Music in Norwegian wood. Another of my favorite yarns to work with and wear. So just in case you haven't seen that one, that was released this week. And it's one to check out. I know that a lot of people love knitting Caitlin Hunter patterns and they rave about them. I've seen several people knit several of her patterns over and over again, so I thought that that was worth mentioning. So this is a pattern from a previous pattern prize winner. Jeez, that's like a tongue twister. Okay, so this is Fleetwood by Tanis Lavallee, and I love this sweater. This reminds me of everything I love about crochet and knitting and then putting them all together. So in case you can't tell, this is a sweater that's got crochet granny squares in the front. It says, I've had this idea for this sweater in my mind and in my heart for years, but I was too daunted by the unknowns of combining crochet with knitting to tackle it. Well, now that I've done it, I don't know what I was afraid of. These sister crafts were meant to work together and I am beyond thrilled with the results. The sweater combines just the right amount of unique challenges with easy, mindless stockinette stitch. I am in my granny era and I love it. So the sizes available are 35 inches to 71.5 inches. So the gauge is 20 stitches and 24 rows equal 4 inches and stockinette stitch knit flat. Didn't I just say the same thing about Caitlin Hunter, I believe? I always thought that 20 stitches was not DK weight gauge. Leave a comment down below and let me know. Am I wrong there? Well, I don't know. I always thought DK was maybe, well, closer to 24. I love this pattern though, it's so pretty. It says that you need a 3.75 millimeter crochet hook, a 4 millimeter circular needle for ribbing. I have never taken one well, let me think. No, I've never done knitting and crochet in one sweater before. It sounds like a lot of fun, The only thing that's ever really come close is when I've maybe slip stitched around a collar or single crocheted around it, or maybe used crochet to sew something together, but I don't even think then. No, because I would have used mattress stitch unless the pattern specifically called for crochet. Okay, this is something that I have had in my queue for a while. So I'm thinking that you might not have seen this, but I am going to say that you're probably going to be in one of two camps. You're either really going to like it and think it's a cool idea, or you're not going to like it. Now, either one is okay, but I wanted to show it to you because I think that this is really cute. This is called the Loopdigan. This is by SweaterFreak. So this is basically what amounts to a shrug with a cowl attached. And I am going to try to put up a picture of the back so you can see the shrug. And I've always thought that this pattern was really pretty. So it is knit in fingering weight yarn, and it's 24 stitches and 28 rows equals 4 stitches in stockinette stitch. So it says, if you spend $20 in my shop during one transaction, you will get 20% off, no coupon needed. Loopdigan is a combo of a much-loved infinity loop and a cardigan. This versatile garment can be made from any drapey yarn to suit virtually any season of wear. The pattern includes 2 sleeve lengths and 2 front lace options. So I think that's really cool that you have 2 different front lace options as well. Have you guys seen this one? It came out in 2014. So it's been out for a little bit. It needs between 800 and 1300 yards. The sizes available are between small, medium, and large. And it says select size based on your cross back measurement. So that's an interesting measurement to need. You might need someone to help you get that measurement because I don't think I could get it on my own. I have never made a SweaterFreak pattern before, I don't believe, but like I said, this has probably been in my queue since I saw it originally, so. Now, I decided sometime this week to show you Loopdigan, and then because all of the stars decided to align, I ran across this crochet pattern, and sorry, I'm digging it out of the pages here because I wanted to show this to you too. So this is called Svenja's Soul Warmer. And this is a crochet pattern. And I'm going to try to put up pictures so that you can see better how this actually works. But it is a sweater scarf crochet pattern is how the designer describes it. It says, discover my sweater scarf crochet pattern that is not only fun to make, but also wonderfully practical once finished. This meditative pattern is enjoyable and helps you find peace. The versatile wearing options make the lovingly crocheted sweater scarf a practical and unique accessory for yourself or your loved ones. So actually, this I believe is going to sum up what I'm trying to say. This sweater scarf is perfect for all seasons. It can be worn as a scarf, a shrug, or a sweater. So that's what the pictures are trying to say. And I thought that that paired pretty nicely with the Loopdigan whenever I ran across it. I really love whenever you can take one pattern that can be made multiple ways. I've seen different like knitting sweaters that you could wear completely backwards and upside down and they still look great. I think the V-back tee is one of the knitting patterns that you can wear backwards and frontwards. I really like those because it gives you a lot of options about how you're going to wear something. It says the sweater scarf is crocheted in one piece and completely seamless. No need to sew individual pieces together. It says intermediate, suitable for ambitious beginners in pullover crocheting. So it comes in both English and German, and the sizes available are between extra small and 4XL. And it's in DK weight yarn. So I thought that was really fun when I ran across it, and I thought that it was also pretty fitting when paired with the Loopdigan. So, because they're both not similar. They're the same vibe. Yes, that's what I mean. Okay, so carrying on with things that I've seen in my queue that I've just never had a chance to knit, knit or crochet that I've wanted to do. There's this pattern that I ran across from Hunter Hammerson, and it is called Constellate. And this yarn, the yarn used for this pattern can be any weight. And I am going to be putting up some colored pictures of this hat because it is just gorgeous, especially the crown, which is incredible. So it says, what does it say? It says, I've never been any good at knowing when to stop, and I used to feel sort of bad about it, to think that if I could only be a bit more moderate, a little bit less enthusiastic, things might be easier. But these days I just embrace it. When I like something, I really, really, really like it, and that's okay. Actually, it's kind of fun. So given how I feel about the first of these patterns, it should surprise no one that I wasn't ready to be done after just one hat. Not even after one hat worked 2 different ways. Because wow, does working this with a contrast color do some sort of magical. I should have known that there would need to be mitts also work 2 different ways, because once you know, how could you not? Oh, and possibly a bonus version of this hat just for super secret friends, because sure, why not? You can see it in one of the pictures towards the bottom. Okay, so this hat is in an ebook, and I believe the ebook comes with mitts as well, but it says that it doesn't, well, one of the reasons I like this hat is that it's reversible, but it doesn't say what type of stitch is being used, which is okay, and I'm planning on knitting this one day, but I just haven't yet. Probably because I don't have, like, this hat's going to need the perfect yarn, I feel like. It says the suggested yarn is Seven Sisters Act Meridian Color Wheel, which is probably really close to yarn that I'd love to use for it. Come on, something called Color Wheel, or yeah, Color Wheel? It says it's 75% merino, 25% nylon, and 463 yards, so light fingering. So that makes it even more perfect, right? Because I love fingering weight garments. Okay, I think that's it for my queue, things that I've been looking at wanting to knit. But I've promised that I'm going to show you the knit vent patterns. So the knit vent, if you haven't been following, is something that Helen Stewart does yearly, and it's basically a collection, an ebook that you buy, and it releases a pattern or 2 every week up until Christmas. I think up until Christmas. Either way, I believe it's 6 weeks. So this was the pattern, one of the patterns that came out this week, and this is called an ornamental hat. And I thought it was really cute. It's like a lace hat, and it's in DK weight yarn. So I feel like I'm probably going to be knitting this hat soon. If I need any more hats for the fundraiser for my son's class. If not, I will probably knit this one for my daughter because I really like how it looks with the cute pom-poms. But of course, if I knit her that, I'm going to have to find a pom-pom to put on it. It says that the sizes available are between baby and adult, and you need between 105 to 183 yards. So the ornamental hat is a simple classic piece that's as cozy as it's versatile. Knitting up from super quick and cuddly DK weight yarn and with 4 sizes included in the pattern, it's a brilliant addition to your last minute gift knitting repertoire. The design combines wide ribbing with versatile strings of eyelets, easy to memorize and fun to knit, with a brim you can turn up for extra warmth on chilly days or leave down for extra slouch. Top it off with a big fluffy pom-pom for a playful ornamental finish. So part of the reason I was really into this hat was because of the eyelets. I thought that that was a nice touch, especially in between the ribbing. So I was pleased whenever I saw it. This is the other pattern from the Knit Vint this week. Now, I'm going to put up some pictures of this. This is called the Noelle Scarflet. This is knit also in DK weight yarn, and this is bite-sized, so you only need between 198 to 232 yards. So let's take a look at this. This is a scarflet, right? I don't know how to feel about this one. And a scarflet isn't something that I normally go for when worn like that. But I'm going to put up some pictures of like the whole thing spread out. And I started thinking this would be really cute as a headband. And that is how I would use this pattern in my hair, basically. It says, the sparkle of spontaneity, those moments when we can decide to embrace a new adventure on a whim, can infuse the holidays with fresh magic. It's like giving ourselves permission to step away from the grown-up world of to-do lists and obligations, even if just for a little while. The Noelle Scarflet embodies the spirit of readiness and joy. It's the perfect companion for those why not moments that add light to our days and warmth to our hearts. This delightful quick to knit accessory is adorable as it is practical. So if you have just a teeny tiny bit of special yarn, this would be awesome to use it for. This reminds me of, what was the petite knit little scarf? I can't remember, but everybody wore it for a little bit, and this reminds me of something a lot similar along those veins. So I think that they're both really cute. Okay, so I ran across this, I don't know where I first saw it, and I was debating on whether or not I should bring it up. But then one of my friends brought it up, and then I'm like, oh, so other people would be interested in this too. So here I am. I'm going to share it with you guys. This is the Fair Isle Mitten MKAL. So it says MKALendar, I guess I should say. So let me explain a little bit about it. This pattern is free for a limited time. The clues will be available free in my Mighty Networks community for 2 months from December 1st, 2024 to January 31st, 2025. With the Fair Isle Mitten MKALendar, you'll create a pair of colorwork mittens, fingerless mitts, or convertible flip-top mittens in 25 days while waiting for the holiday. The mystery knit-along is released in 25 daily clues, 24 days of colorwork charts for the Advent and mitten tops, and thumbs on Christmas Day. For a non-matching pair, work clues 1 through 12 of the MKAL on the left mitten and clues 13 to 24 on the right. For a matching pair, work either clues 1 through 12 or 13 to 24 on both mittens. Oh, I love the idea of working 2 mittens like non-matching. I think that that would be so cute. Each day's clues is presented as a standard colorwork chart. All charts can be worked with just 2 colors, but you can use as many as you wish. Your color choices determine whether your advent will be filled with classic or modern interpretations or traditional Fair Isle motifs. Regardless of how many colors you pick, all colorwork rounds are knit with just 2 colors and short floats. So if you guys like colorwork mittens, and you would like to get in on colorwork mitten MKAL, then check this out because I thought that it was kind of neat. I am scared to work colorwork mittens, mostly because I've made, I think, 2 mittens before, 2 pairs of mittens before, so I don't feel like I'm leveled up enough to be able to do Fair Isle colorwork mittens. At least not to this extent, not yet. Okay, so if you guys know anything about me, or if you don't, I am a huge fan of Locatelli's patterns, as you can see from what I'm wearing. But she came out with a new hat, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. This is called a Twisted Affair, and it is in bulky weight yarn. So it is a sweet cabled hat, and it is free. So let's see. It says, sometimes things get twisted. You do your best and hope for the right outcome, and it still wraps itself around and makes a tangle. I am pretty sure you can apply this truth to something today. Whatever that is, I hope this free hat pattern can help you unwind and get through your life's twist. This beanie is worked from the bottom up. It features a ribbed brim and cables all over the body of the hat. So it says the size is medium and large to fit a head circumference of approximately 22.5 to 23 3/4 inches. So if you are looking for a free cabled hat pattern in bulky weight, check this out. How much does it use? 163 to 190 yards. Okay, so maybe, let's see. It says a suggested yarn is Woolfolk Luft. I don't know if I have ever used that before. I don't think so. I wonder if I could use that Jody Glam Haze. But like cables with the fuzzy stuff, I don't know that that would be a good choice. I'm trying to think of what other bulky yarn I have. Not very much, which is upsetting because I would like to make this. I've always been like a big fan of cables because they're easy. They're easy. People who don't knit think they're amazing. Like, you could have a very complicated sweater, and if it's just plain stockinette, people are like, oh, that's pretty. Or you could have like a cabled sweater with like 1 cable that's not difficult, right? And people would just be gobsmacked with it. So I've always been a big fan of cables, especially for gifts, because like I said, people do like them. And I've always thought that cables were great, especially all over cable colorwork patterns. Okay, so I ran across this pattern not last week, the week before, but I wanted to share it with you. This is called FilodiCarta Twister Beanie. So, there's a caveat with this one. Are you guys listening? This is a beautiful beanie scarf. Trying to explain it. And I'm going to be putting up pictures that are going to help explain it better. First of all, the caveat is that the pattern is an Italian, but it comes with a chart. Now, if you look at that color work right there, that's a beautiful color work pattern. and it's a free pattern, so you can download it and take a look at the chart, and you should be able to figure it out, even not knowing Italian. So it needs between 383 to 547 yards of fingering weight yarn. And the gauge is 28 stitches and 32 rows is 4 inches in stockinette stitch. Now, the cool thing about this hat scarf is it's basically a long tube. And I'm putting up a picture to explain to you what I mean. So there's no decreases or increases. Half of the tube is solid and the other half is this colorwork pattern. And if you can tell from that top picture, they kind of push it in on itself to wear it as a hat. And then it can also work as this really pretty cowl. But I saw this and fell in love with the colorwork pattern on it. And the colors were just so great. I thought that this would be very fun to make. Especially a beanie. Well, yeah, I guess you can say a beanie or a cowl with this construction. This is once again an example of taking one pattern and being able to wear it multiple ways, which is always a plus in my book. But I think that's it. Okay, yes, that's it. Okay, that is all I have for this week. I didn't do much, it seems like I didn't do much knitting. Like I said, the last couple of days, I have been daydreaming while on Ravelry and looking at patterns, or going to like knitting shops and like making wish lists for Christmas. I don't need anything. I really would like a weaving loom, but I'm still not sold on it. I don't know. So I guess we'll see. I will keep you guys posted. If you're a weaver, like I said, leave comments down below. Maybe show me your favorite weaving pattern that you've made or an item that you like weaving, so I can see what width I would want, because I think I'd like to make scarves or like fabric to make tote bags. Yeah, like a tote bag, something like that. Or I would just like to weave because, you know, it's repetitive and meditative, and I think it would be fun, and it would be something that I could teach my kids how to do, especially my daughter, because she's so hyper and active. I don't think I can get her to sit still long enough to knit, but weaving, probably. Okay, with all of that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, if you want to enter for next week's pattern giveaway, just leave a comment down below. Any comment will do, and I will see you guys next week. If you could, please give this video a thumbs up or hit the subscribe button. Oh, one more thing. I made an intro and an outro. So I hope you guys don't hate it. I'm not very good at it, but I picked the song because it made me happy, and that's the only reason. So anyways, bye guys. I'll see you next time. Thank you.